What up? It's your boy Clean South Blaze, and we're here again at the Real House in Van Nuys, California with the Yeee TV podcast. And I got a special guest, Angee Smallz from Latin Affiliated TV. What's up, homegirl?
Hey, what's up?
What's
Thank
up?
you
What's
for
up?
inviting me.
Of course. So I haven't met Angee. I just met her here now, just like I do with a lot of my guests. And one thing I did like when I did looked at your page is obviously you do a lot of podcasts and you do a lot of interviews. I see a couple of the posts that I really agree with you on, and we'll get into that a little later. But I think it's important that everybody kind of finds out like the origins of where you come from.
Yeah.
So let's get into where area are you coming out of, and what's the household like for you in the community?
It's complicated a little bit. My background, I didn't grow up in California. I was born in California, but my dad was in the Army and we moved around a lot. So
Army baby.
I'm a military brat and spent 10 years of my life in Germany, overseas.
How was Germany? Okay, I want to get into that. I have a friend who was in the Marines. He was in Camp Pendleton, got out, found a German girl, and went to Germany with her. He hasn't came back since. So what's the German life like over there?
It's awesome. The food is great. There's so green. I did start smoking weed out there.
Yeah. It's big out there. I know beer's big over there too.
Yeah,
in Germany.
They used to have breweries by our house, and you could tell like certain times of the month that sky would actually turn yellow because of all the wheat in the air.
No way.
Yeah. So they go hard on their beer.
No way. I never even knew that. So what was it like for like a young Latina girl just growing up outside of, you're nowhere near the homeland,
Well, fortunately, I got to mingle with a lot of cultures because they're all, I'm on an American base.
Correct. So it's a melting pot of different cultures and from all over the country and all over the world.
Yeah, we were all from the United States.
Right.
We actually had a reunion over here in Vegas,
right,
which was crazy to see the people that I grew up with. So, it was the same thing. I had a little clique, and we used to go to the YA. They call it the YA.
What's the YA over there?
It's like the YMCA.
Really? Yeah,
we had dances, and like I said, that's where I.
So when you went to school on base?
Yes,
so it was American top base.
It was.
Okay, but did they have any like? Did you learn any German? Like, did you cross over with the culture?
Phrases. The German schools are set up differently as well. Like they pulled them right into college, and I did visit the German schools, but I was not allowed to really go off base a lot. So, I did go to an American school. It was American education. I was always the kind of kid that I skated through school. I didn't have to try too hard. I was friends with like the security guards. I used to get a lot of BS classes.
What was your age? Oh, your age group like when you were in Germany? How old were you? Were you younger? Or were you like in high school?
I was there all the way from elementary through my 10th year in high school.
Oh wait, so that means your dad was like obviously in a high official, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so how did your mom take it? She was cool with it.
She was fine. She was stay at home mom. She ended up becoming a real estate agent, and they retired in Arizona.
Got it.
But I had 2 older sisters and an older brother, so I was the youngest.
Right.
So, I always say that, the youngest, they get away with everything.
Always. Always. My youngest is in the back right now getting away with everything. and my oldest is over here taking the rap for it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It'd be like that.
Yeah.
So, I always like to say that, by the time I came around, like, my parents were kind of like, have someone else watch her because, so my sisters were kind of in charge of me, but they didn't really do a good job.
What made you say like they didn't do a good job?
Because I was always doing my own thing. But I'm also a Sagittarius. So, I'm very carefree, and I got in a little bit of trouble but I never got caught.
Yeah. And was it a blessing that you didn't get caught? Because I heard like military officials like they get really disciplined like when kids start acting up and all that. I don't know if that was true or not.
I don't know. I guess it was a blessing, but again, the people I was hanging out with, I did actually make friends with some of the German kids.
Yeah.
So I did have some German friends, and they weren't very strict in high school. Like we actually had a smoking section.
No way.
Yeah.
What was the age? Boy, I'm so thrown out. You can totally tell I'm American. You're like, whoa.
It was pretty awesome.
Oh man, yeah, but Wow. Okay. So,
but I don't condone cigarettes, guys.
no, not at all. But in Europe, kids grow up faster, right?
Yeah.
Like they grow
Yes,
up
because
faster. They're taught things a lot younger, And so I think that's why they're a lot more
right.
lenient with it, right?
Yeah, because the clubs they don't actually check IDs.
Yeah.
I was 15 in the club.
What was like their music out there? It was mostly like EDMs and like
they were
techno and all
ahead
that,
of the
huh?
time, man.
Yeah.
They set the trend. Like,
The only time I ever heard German music was when my brothers would play like Rammstein.
Yeah.
And I would see their concerts. I was like, whoa,
And
like
now,
that's dope.
that's how American music kind of went.
Yeah.
That sound, but that was happening in Europe.
Way before. Because
Right.
Rammstein went back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So now tell me what's the one thing you love the most about Germany, and tell me one thing that you hated about it.
The culture was amazing. I had a great experience. I had a lot of great friends, made a lot of great memories. I did grow up a little bit fast.
Yeah.
And again, being out there, there was also soldiers. Soldiers are signed up at 18 years old.
So you had a lot of.
So they were in the clubs as well.
Yeah.
So I might have been doing some underage, like.
Oh my god. Yeah. No.
Because
I
I'm
get
in the
it.
club underage.
Yeah,
15,
and they're not knowing.
They don't know.
They don't know.
They're 18. Serving.
Yeah.
And
they're being 18.
And they're American soldiers.
Yes, being 18, coming from America, but leaving a country to where you have like, your parents should still kind of like be like guiding you somewhere, like, hey,
exactly.
Keep your heads over there. But now you're in a whole other country and you could do whatever you want, and you're just wilding out,
Yeah. So we were going to the clubs drinking.
Yeah.
And, So yeah, I mean, I did grow up a little bit fast, but I don't regret anything. I had a great,
Because you feel like it molded you to who you are today.
It definitely did. And, I feel like I can be a chameleon. I can blend in with
many different things.
A lot of different cultures.
Right.
I was always a hip hop fan. Even,
That's what I did want to ask you. What was the music coming out? Like, what was the music playing in the house?
So we got the music like a year late.
Okay.
So it was always a treat. And back then there wasn't like streaming or anything, right?
Yes.
So our family in America would actually mail us
like CDs,
tapes, like VHSs, and that's how we all learned about Vanilla Ice.
What was it? The VHS tapes were like recordings of like the MTVs and the TRLs and all that stuff. Like that would play it on there.
It was a huge thing when we got this tape of Vanilla Ice. So we were like passing it around. But so yeah, we got the music a little bit late, but we were still tapped in or trying to stay tapped in.
Yeah.
Cypress Hill was huge in Europe.
So that's one thing I do want to talk about. People always try to like strive to be successful in America, right? Mm-hmm. Not knowing that like if you actually blow up outside of America, you actually like have a bigger fan base and a bigger support and a lot more genuine support that's not saturated. Because I look at the numbers in hip hop, and obviously, like for our culture, people always say like, "Oh, you guys are the minority in hip hop." Yeah, we're the minority in hip hop. We obviously don't have like the Mount Rushmore and the legends, like obviously Afro Americans do and all that. Mm-hmm. But if we're talking about music wise and music in general, if you type in any narco corrido song, ranchero, like bandas, whatever, these songs are doing like 500 million views, like over 50 million views every single song.
Yeah,
and it's because it's international.
Yeah.
So when you tell me that Cypress Hill was big in Europe, I'm not surprised because there's a lot more support out there for things like that.
Oh yeah, we were smoking in the mountains, listening to Cypress Hill. Never did I imagine I'd actually smoke a joint with him. In the United States.
How was that experience?
It was cool. I mean, I met Cypress Hill, so my channel Latin affiliated used to be a print magazine.
Got you.
So it's kind of a relaunch, a new audience.
Mm-hmm. It was a magazine press.
Yeah,
right?
It was printed like before Facebook came out.
Yeah.
And I
MySpace days?
Right before MySpace days. I think I have some copies and they do have the MySpace address on them.
So I remember when MySpace came around, like all of a sudden like all these magazines were popping up.
There was a magazine wave, and then the internet, the .com or
then the blogs came out.
The Y2K, where they were all worried that when the number hit 2000, all the computers were going to crash. I'm totally aging myself.
No, you're good. You're good. And it's funny because like I'm like thinking like, oh,
Y2K was a crazy concept.
Yeah, no, it definitely was. But I'm going back to like, okay, my sister, like, because I think about what was there before MySpace. And I'm like, oh, AOL Connect. Remember? It was like, to like you had to connect it. It was like if somebody was on the phone, they're cutting off your service. You know, I just always like I remember answering the phone and hearing my sister yell from the room, "Get off the phone!"
Exactly.
You know? There was
Exactly.
obviously like the party line, you know, and then there was obviously like there was like chat rooms and all that, you know,
Yeah.
back then, you know. Then obviously MySpace came around. Um, so let me go back a little bit more real quick. What you say you were big in hip hop? What brought when you came back to America? What were your goals when you came back to America?
So when I came back from Germany, I went to California. I
Hmm.
went to high school in California, and then started going to like kickbacks and like the day parties. I can't remember what they're called.
What was the culture shock like for you?
I mean, I came to California every year. My
Yeah,
parents always brought us home
like a summer
for the
getaway.
summer.
Yeah, summer getaway.
But my cousins, they still grew up differently because, but I'm thankful that I
Hmm.
had the I was brought up in an international setting
Of
because,
course.
most of my family is from like Delano and Bakersfield.
Yes, it's kind of
So
like yeah, I get what you're saying, like the farmlands and all that, right? Like I was, yeah,
exactly.
exactly. Do
So
you feel like coming from an international place, like it opened your eyes a lot more to things than
oh
people were
yeah,
here,
totally.
and you feel like you're
We're
just kind
way.
of
I feel like my cousins would think that they would say that you can tell like you can tell I didn't grow
yeah.
up in Bakersfield.
Well, so when your cousins were hanging out with you, like obviously you spoke different, you
Yeah.
acted different. Like, did you get any backlash or like did they ever talk crap and be
I
like,
mean, we always did our best to fit in, we'll
uh,
always be family. Um, but obviously there is a little bit of a disconnect on some things.
big
And then
disconnect?
I always wanted to move to LA. I
Yeah,
always had like this big dream of like
that's dreams and
I
aspirations to do
have
it.
to move to
Yeah.
LA. That's where I
What
wanted
was
to be.
driving you to want to come to LA?
I really don't know. I think it was just the entertainment
Yeah, you feel
art
like you kind of
scene.
had like a purpose here.
I always, yeah, I think just thought it was so cool.
Yeah.
I did have a few family members in LA, and I just thought I don't know, I just always had this big city like
When everybody thought back then
dream.
thought like to make it big, they always thought go to LA.
Yeah,
LA was the market,
yeah.
right? It was the
So
market. If you could get big in LA, you'll get big everywhere else. Do you
yeah,
feel like that market's kind of shifted?
I think so.
Yeah.
You can make it anywhere
Right.
right now. Some of the biggest podcasters, streamers like
Yeah.
PewDiePie. Is that how you say his name?
Oh, I'm not too familiar.
He's like a huge Twitch singer,
Oh,
streamer.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
I
But
don't.
yes, that's crazy how like the Twitch thing is like a big thing now, right?
Yeah, and who
Yeah.
knows where he's streaming from?
Yeah.
It's like people like that. So
Yeah.
as long as you have an internet connection and a camera, you don't need to be in LA anymore.
No, that's great. Well, you know what? I was thinking this too. I came across an artist. His name is Hectic Loke. He's out of here from the San Fernando Valley. He's older now. Um, I just came across his page on Instagram, right? But I went on his Instagram and he has like 135,000 albums sold out the trunk, right?
Wow.
And I know that's very true. Shout out to Hectic Loke because when I was like 15, 14, this is my neighborhood right here. And I went to the local gas station. I was like 14, 15, and I seen these two dudes at the gas station. I went over, like, did my thing. Like, hey, where you guys from? Like, oh, we're from here. But they were like, but we're rappers. And they were selling CDs. And I remember like, yeah, that's right. But it was cool because I remember he did sell 135,000 albums. And I was like, that back then you really had to be out there and pushing it.
Mm-hmm.
Like you had to be different from everybody. You had to show face. Where nowadays it's like you could be on Twitch, on social
Exactly.
media. Now who has the best content? Who has the best personality? Who has the best voice? Who has the best gimmicks? Gimmicks is
Yeah.
another thing.
Mm-hmm.
I see a lot of like artists, Instagram influencers, like they'll run gimmicks just to be
Yeah.
able to gain that algorithm and that traffic.
Right.
Um, Tell me, it's cool that you talk about the magazine because that tells me that you were a part of that, having to be
I really
frontline.
was,
You had to be a part of the front line and actually do the footwork.
I was mailing these things out. It
Yeah.
even got picked up in the prison system.
Yeah.
So I have people to this day telling me, "Oh, I used to subscribe to it."
Yeah. Oh, because you had to fill out a card.
Yeah, I had a
and
little
send it
form.
in. You had to send it in.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
we had a small wave, and I actually, the last year of high school, my parents moved to Arizona. So I graduated
Got it.
from high school in Arizona. So the
Phoenix?
magazine.
Yeah, Arizona. That's what I was about to have. I'm about to get to Arizona right now because I lived in Arizona and Phoenix for 2 years. Shout out to my boy ETV. That's where I met him. I was like, how was Phoenix? I mean, how was Arizona for you? I don't know which part of Arizona was, but how was it?
Tucson.
Tucson, got it.
And Phoenix. I had friends. They're so close that you go back and forth. But I lived in Tucson, and I got a degree in Tucson in communication advertising. That's my background, is advertising, marketing, digital marketing.
Got it.
Graphic design. So I did all the layout of the magazine, everything. Right. But it was cool. But I knew I didn't want to be there. I actually had a really good job in Tucson too. I worked
which back then that was big, because Tucson was barely starting up as a town.
So the temporary tattoos you get in the vending machines? Yeah. The world manufacturer is in Tucson.
Okay.
And my art.
Those tattoos?
Mm-hmm.
No way.
My art degree, all I did was color.
Yeah.
These tattoos. Yeah. That's all I did. It was such a cake job. Yeah. And they were making so much money on these.
Because they were so easy to sell.
They sell the Oreo, Coca-Cola. Anytime you get it in a cereal box, these companies are ordering 1 million.
Yeah, those fake tattoos.
So these orders are freaking 100K orders, and all it is a little piece of art that they're printing. Right. But the lady I met, she was actually the creator of the process. Okay. Of how to create these tattoos, these temporary.
So she kind of had the patent. The patent for it.
Yeah. So if you ever see those temporary tattoos flipping on the back, it'll say Tucson, Arizona.
Got it. Damn. Bomb. She just dropped the bomb. Like, that's like our whole childhood right there. I was like, Mom, can I get 50 cents? Can I get 50 cents?
And they're realistic. I mean, they're the ones they use in movies and everything.
Yeah, especially when they came out.
The black ones.
Yeah, especially when they came out with like the Chicano art style ones. You were like, Mom, let me get 50 cents.
Yes.
Because it'd always be like the tattoos. Yeah, it'd always be like the fake tattoos, and then it'd be like the little homie figurines right next to it. So you had to pick which one you wanted. You wanted the little homie figurines, or you wanted the tattoos.
The artist. Yeah. I was one of the artists in there. It was such a cake job. And then I was doing my magazine on the side, and then I decided to move to LA. And I remember when I quit the job, and they were like, "Why are you quitting?" And I'm like, "I'm moving to LA."
Yeah, you just knew you had a bigger dream.
And they were like, "Okay."
Yeah. I want to. So the magazine. How did you get tied in with your magazine? And what was the beginning process? What was the vision? And then why did it stop?
A few things. So I happened to meet someone at a Baby Bash concert.
Shout out Baby Bash.
Yeah, shout out Baby Bash.
That's right.
And they were. He was connected with some DJs from the Bay. Yeah.
That's where everybody thinks he's from Houston or whatever, but he's originally from Vallejo.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
And he used to go by Baby Beesh.
He was called Baby Beesh.
Beesh, yeah. Baby Beesh. Yeah. That was Baby Beesh.
So these radio DJs got picked up for a show in Tucson.
Got it.
Where I met Bash. And they started a magazine called Wessmont magazine.
Got it.
And I was a designer. I was a graphic designer. And they were like, hey, if you want to help us. And so I started helping them. Yeah. And so I was going to a lot of shows and stuff. And it was super easy back then to get into shows. Like I made my own press pass.
It's good that you were a graphic designer and so forth, because that's something that most people have to outsource to other people, and you could do it for yourself.
No, that was my whole skill set.
Yeah, but that's like, you could do other things, but knowing that for yourself, you could do that. Where most people back then had to outsource it, and it was probably cost them a penny too.
Yeah. No, when I graduated high school, I was always interested in the arts, and then when I graduated, communication or Adobe Photoshop was basically born. Right. And so I got my degree in that. Gotcha. So I remember my dad was like, "What are you going to do with an art degree?"
Yeah. Because that's the one degree that people just like, it puzzles them. Like, what can you do with an art degree? Like, or what field can you go, or what career can you have? People always think like, you're not going to make it as a painter. You're like, I'm not even trying to be a painter, Like, what are you talking about? It's just, what is it about an art degree, and what's the benefit of having an art degree, and what can it do for you?
Well, luckily I got some, it depends on what college you go to, right? Because colleges, they have different curriculum. And
Tucson has what? University of Arizona? The Wildcats?
No, it's Pima. I went to community college, people.
No, that's fine. Yeah. No, I mean, shoot.
I got a degree is a degree.
Yeah.
I got a 2-year degree. I got an associate's. And I also did get a tech certificate after that. But it is wrapped up. It had half design, half marketing. But the name of it is communication advertising. So I was able to visualize things for magazines, ads. That was the purpose behind it. but then I could also do the mock-ups.
Got it. So if somebody wanted an idea like shown, you could bring that idea to life.
Yeah. So not only could we like conceptualize it, I could actually execute it too.
Got it. So it's a jack, pretty much like a jack of all trades, right?
Because and I hate that term. That's like it's not good, right?
It's not good because then everybody wants you to do everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, oh, you could do this. I learned that very young because like you're so antsy to be like, hey, I could do this, I could do that, I could do this, and then when you're like, when people start hitting you up for all those, you're like, And I remember somebody wise told me, it was like, don't always tell everybody what you do.
Yeah, that's true.
Like don't always tell everybody that you're capable. Yeah, don't ever tell everybody your capabilities because you're gonna exhaust all of them.
Yeah, exactly. My dad tells me that to
this day. What's one thing you wish you would have known before starting your career that you know now?
This path. To kind of in the same lines, like don't let people take advantage of you. Came to LA. I mean, I got Hollywood will spit you up, chew you out.
Yeah, you gotta have a thick skin.
However that saying is.
Well, let's say old Hollywood, because I feel like Hollywood died now. Like even these big record labels, these big movies, like they're dying at the hands of social media and the feet of social media. Right? Like nobody's really going to movie theaters anymore. Nobody's really going to like dying to get signed by Sony anymore. Like you don't need Sony. You don't need Warner Brothers. You don't need all this. When back then, that's all you had.
Yeah, exactly. That I have a social media post about that. If you check out my Instagram, I went live last week on Valentine's Day, and we totally talked about that. How production houses aren't really even providing budgets anymore for movies.
It's all distribution deals now, right? Like that, everybody's working out. Yeah. So what made the magazine collapse, and then what were you doing after the magazine collapsed?
I got a little burnt out. I had a business partner. And we split up, and I was a very emotional. Again, there was a lot of people that I felt backstabbed me, and again, but
unfortunately, that's the ugly part of business.
Exactly. Looking back, it's like I should have been more aware of shit, but I was young,
Right, but it shapes you to who you will become, right? Because now you have your boundaries. Now you're not gonna let people step over you like that or backstab you like that again, right?
Yeah.
So when the magazine died, where did you go to after?
I went to the advertising corporate world.
Yeah. So working for other companies, and what was the journey through that?
It was cool. It sustained me. I was working in the back office for the LA Times.
Got it.
I worked at a really nice production studio that they build like shit for like Ross, like stationary shit that you actually see in the stores.
Got it. Yeah.
Again, like I love my degree because it gave me like easy jobs.
Yeah.
All I was doing was like checking the design pattern and like, looking at art all day.
Of course.
So still, I really liked it. And in LA, one of the reasons I did want to move here is because back then or 20 years ago, everybody was getting paid like 45 an hour, 50 an hour for these jobs.
Yeah.
Which
was big back then.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was huge.
I was like, oh, I'm gonna be cool in LA, So
now 50 an hour is like, wow, that's pretty cracking middle class. I was like, what the hell?
And now those jobs are back down to like 30 an hour, 40 an hour.
It lost the value in it.
Yeah.
And obviously everything died with that industry. Right. Yeah. So when your journey to bring this magazine back, right? But obviously with the new vision, what sparked the idea for you to bring it back? And what was your new vision?
So my YouTube channel, we relaunched it in November of 2023. So it's just over a year.
Of course. Remind everybody what it's called too, just so they can follow it. Latin Affiliated. Go follow, like, and subscribe over there.
Yeah, go subscribe to the channel. So it was the magazine, and now it is on, for new eyeballs, the new generation.
The big new
and wanted to see how it would do,
Yeah. So what was the vision for it? Like, what is the vision for Latin Affiliated? Like, what's your guys' goals? Like, what do you want the company to be known for?
I've gotten some comments being a woman, and how, there's people that, just people say things. I don't think it's a very small minority percentage of the audience, but people will be like, oh, she sleeps with all her guests.
Yeah.
That's how she's getting them.
Yeah.
Not realizing, no, these contacts came from 20 years ago. I
Yeah.
had Be Real in my magazine 20 years ago.
Right.
You know, I had Baby Bash in my magazine 20 years
How do you
ago.
deal? How do you deal with comments like that?
You just have to ignore that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But
Is it hard to sometimes?
it does bother me.
Yeah.
Because you know, I just, for one, you know, people don't know that part of the reason I do like to do it. It may sound cheesy, but I really do care about the young Latinos.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and my audience is 25 to 35-year-olds.
That main important young core.
That's
That's
my
going to be the
audience.
future.
You know, and I don't talk about this a lot, but you know, I've been through a lot of things. I lost my nephew.
Sorry about that.
When he was 25, and I lost my niece when she was 19.
Sorry about that.
And you know, I thank you. When I see Latinos like someone like Lefty Gunplay, who has been through a lot, you know, people diminish the stuff he went through. They diminish his prison time. They say whatever they want to say about him, whatever. But I just feel that Latinos and people in general, young adults in general, like, we make a lot of mistakes.
A lot of mistakes.
We make a lot of mistakes. Even my nephew died when he was 25 years old. Mm-hmm. To me, he's a young man. He didn't even get to grow up.
You barely start becoming a man at 25. Yeah. I'm sorry to hear about that. I really am. And you're right. People do diminish, you know, obviously like Lefty Gunplay and like, hey, he's a weirdo, J-Cat, whatever, because of obviously like what's going on. When I see somebody like that, I'm like, okay, that's a homeboy that just got out doing years, right? You can't really talk on that if you weren't there to walk the line like he did. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, if the homie does mess around and do whatever he does, well, you don't know what trauma he endured for him to lead to that. Yeah. But at least the homie's doing what he's doing now. Yeah. You know what I mean? And like the big one I hear is like, oh, they only gave him 4 lines on that song. In the beginning, I was against it. I was like, you know, if Kendrick offered me that, I wouldn't do it, you know, because my pride was big. But then I saw the bigger picture. Yeah. I said, you know what? It's Kendrick Lamar. For him to even put him on there and give him those royalties that he's gonna set up his family. Yeah. It's gonna set up his future. You know, so how can you talk down on a homie like Lefty Gunplay? Yeah, where he does have some weird, like those videos where he's like high and all that, but it doesn't matter. You will never walk those shoes to know. He's got immense pressure. He had success thrust upon him. You know, he went straight to the you know, to go from being institutionalized to all of a sudden being like on the spotlight real quick, world famous. Yeah, at this point. Yes, because you're coming from a hostile environment where like every day it's like you gotta watch what you're doing. You gotta watch your actions. An action you might make could be the action that ends your life. Yeah. And now you're in a spotlight where everybody's around you, and you're like, well, do I even trust all these people around me? You know, you still have those instincts. Yeah. You know, and you know, so yeah, meeting him, I feel good that he has a good team, and I don't even know why I care. I don't even know why, but honestly, I care about this the same way with a lot of young adults in general. You know, he's just an example, right? Of course. I don't ever want to just always talk about him, but just young adults, I really do, you know, again, and I think about my own life. I feel like I made mistakes, big mistakes. Well, we're meant to make mistakes, you know. It's in our human pattern to make mistakes because those mistakes make us who we are going to become, right? Unfortunately, I mean, unfortunately, back then we could make mistakes, and the only ones that are going to scold you are the people that are around you. Right. Hey, you shouldn't have done that, you know, and they scold you because they want better. They want to make sure you learn that lesson. Where unfortunately now, if you mess up, you do something that like you know, you fuck up or whatever. Now social media has an opinion on it. Yeah. You know, now there's this thing where you could clip videos and make it seem like it's one thing, and now you got to fight this whole thing of like, you know, so and so said the N-word, and you're like, I was chilling with the homies and we were just kicking it, and I didn't say the N-word, I said this, or something like that. But now it's like social media has this big input on your growth. Yeah. So now like people are scared to make mistakes where they don't understand. It's like we're meant to make mistakes. It's okay to make those mistakes as long as you take them as stepping stones. That's all that matters. And so losing, you know, my young niece and nephew also, it just makes you look at life too. Like you have to like really try not to like take
sometimes I try not to take life too seriously either. At
Yes.
this point,
Yeah.
you know, like
It's kind of like you make peace with it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
like you make peace with your life and with your maker, and like my life is what it is going forward. I'm just gonna do the best that I can do.
Yeah,
Right.
I get crazy comments on my YouTube channel all the time, And when I first started experiencing that, I
Yeah.
did freak out a little bit.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, like, I was like, people are blowing up my channel, and
Yeah.
like, half of them are like, oh, Lefty hit it. And like, I'm just like, are you fucking kidding me? And like, it bothered me.
Yeah.
It bothered me. And like, now I laugh at those
Yeah.
comments. Now I'm like, oh my God, somebody's talking shit. Like,
Yeah. I
it's,
remember the homie was all like, hey fool, somebody roll my video like that I'm on a sick one. I'm like, you should tell him you are. Tell him you're on too. Tell him you've been on a sick one.
Yeah,
Matter of fact, your mama's the one that dropped it out to me.
exactly.
Like I always tell everybody, have fun with it.
Exactly.
Like, hey, you smash all your guests. Yeah, I smash you. What you tripping on?
Exactly.
Like
Exactly.
everybody always wants an input, right? But it's how much you value those inputs. If you don't put nothing into it, you got to learn how to look at those comments, because then you don't value them, right? Nobody's gonna know the comments unless somebody brings them up. Now, unless you end up on like I notice like no matter, you can have the best song in the world. If you land on the full community, everybody in the comments is going hard. Like they're always talking shit, So there's some pages where like you can't escape it.
Yeah.
Like it's just meant for people to talk shit. Shout out to full community. I promise you, I wasn't a diss. I was just saying, like, I always notice.
Oh,
like,
I'm sure they know their audience.
Yeah, no, I always look at the comments. I'm like, God damn, like, why are they'll be? Hey, some of these people roast you so hard. Some of these comments are
People
funny.
are
I laugh too.
clever.
Like,
people are so clever.
So yeah, I look at it. I'm like, damn. Now I gotta watch, like, make sure like I don't slip up. Now or like when people are like recording you, they're like, you gotta tell them like, hey, respectfully, like, this ain't that time to record me right now, because like you say, anything could turn into a clip.
Yeah.
Or anything could. Now they have this thing, like, I don't get how we're in 2025 and they still come out with blurred videos trying to make it seem like it's something, right? Like you always see like those pixelated videos, like so-and-so got down in a fight. And you look at the video like, I can't even see who it is.
Yeah.
But it said it's them. Fuck it. They got down,
Yeah.
It's so crazy, right? How is what is the response you're getting from obviously relaunching your magazine and it becoming your YouTube channel now?
I think people are, seeing what I'm doing. I wanted something for Latinos. It really bugged me that there's no like hub
Right.
for Latinos, because we're always jumping on No Jumper, right? And I'm like, come on, like, he's, we have to have some more like media companies.
Yeah, that's where I come back with the gimmicks. Like I said, that's gimmicks. Fortunately,
and shout out No Jumper. Like they inspired me back in the day.
Yeah.
Adam 22 knows that.
Yeah.
I've had a conversation with Adam 22. Like I actually interviewed to be on No Jumper.
Yeah.
As part of their team.
Yeah.
Not as an interview.
Well, because they have the whole back office team.
Yeah. But I guess that.
I did like No Jumper in the beginning. They had some good interviews.
They inspired me back.
Yeah, back then. But now, look, I'm not gonna, like, me personally. I don't mess with No Jumper because I don't mess with any outlet or anything that exploits anybody.
Yeah.
Whether it's our people or any people, you know what I mean? And it just seems like for the last quite a few years at No Jumper, it's just been like they're just exploiting everybody. Yeah. That's why I hate that Lefty Gunplay went up there. That's why I hate that Blanco went up. I hate that any of our people go up there because it's always like when Blanco went up there. I had told the homie this too because fortunately I was able to interview Blanco before No Jumper, and we had a really good conversation. Cool. And but I had told him, I had a conversation with the homie, and I told him like, look, dog, like I'm not like any of these podcasts. I'm not gonna exploit you. I want to bring out the best in you. I want people to know like where you come from, like the story, because there's always something there. And sure enough, you went to No Jumper, and the first clip they fucking get of him is like, how's it like to be the whitest essay from a Mexican neighborhood? It's like, dog, this has been happening since like the end of time. We've been having Güeros and Blancos and the black homies from the hood, like even Middle Eastern homies from the hood. Like it's nothing new.
Yeah, and yet people are still our people are still they think that this platform is the only
that
platform
they need to go there to get bit popping.
Yes. And no hate on No Jumper, but like, come
It's not
on.
for us. It's
No,
not for us. It's
they're
not for
not
us.
portraying
Yeah,
us in the best light. They're
it's
using
not.
us for clickbait. And
Yeah,
I hate to say that, like I said, like I don't have any
yeah.
hate towards Adam 22. I fuck with Lush. Me and Lush work together. You know,
Look, I met Lush. Cool with Lush, really cool dude. But the one thing, if I could tell Lush something, is like stand up on your own, bro.
I've
Like
told him that
I like stand
personally.
up on your own, bro. Like por favor, homie. Like it looks pathetic at a certain point, homie, because I hate Lush. I remember Lush when he came from the battle scene. When he used to be
Yeah,
when he
and that's
okay
where
grind
he's good
time, yeah,
at.
grind time. Like King of the Dot. Like I used to love watching brother. So like I like that I remember Lush from then because he is someone to be remembered from that. That was a good thing. But when he
Hmm.
went to New Jumper, that's kind of like Adam's just been mopping him up.
Yeah,
And like we gotta watch that. And it's like, homie, like please, like stand up for yourself, dog. Like don't fall into that BS because at the end of the day, like we could have something beautiful, but we fall into the bullshit all the time.
yeah,
And then like I didn't like the whole thing where like No Jumper brought over like Rose from the bands to interview, and the first thing he did was go hit Lefty's neighborhood. It's like, why would you even do that if you know these dudes have tensions? If you
exactly.
know the community, if you know what's up, like why even bring that over here? Why
Right.
even try to have like so people can have those discussions? It's like it's unnecessary.
Yeah.
So like, I've always told everybody like that when I reach out to people that I want to interview or when stretch us, I always tell them like, hey, remind them like this is a channel to like show the best of them. Like we don't want to explore you.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about your beefs. I don't want to talk about a shootout you got into, like, cause I seen some incriminating questions I'll be hearing too.
Hmm.
Like, yeah, there's a video of you walking up to a dude and you
I
domed
know,
him and
it's
walked away.
crazy.
So, was that you?
Yeah, it's
It's like, what the fuck?
crazy.
It's like, what the fuck?
And yeah, I know, it's crazy.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. So, when you do yours, right? When you do your interviews, what are some of the most important components you keep to have like the good morals and values in your podcast?
I'm a very easygoing person. I like to keep things light,
Yeah,
and people could say probably boring,
yeah.
like, but
It's boring because you're not with the gimmicks.
yeah. So,
You know?
but I make people feel comfortable,
Yeah,
and whatever conversation I want it to be like we're a friend, right?
yeah.
Like,
Like his homies kicking it.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'm not digging into their personal life or anything like
yeah.
that. And I get coached all the time. People are like, "You didn't ask him this. You didn't
Yeah.
ask him
Or
that."
you'll watch like a video and you'll be like, damn, I should have done that. I should
Yeah.
have asked this,
Yeah.
But
But people still do clip my stuff out,
mm,
so I appreciate everybody that
of
does,
course.
find the little Easter eggs, I guess you could say, and promote shit for me. So I got a lot of people that really fuck with Latin affiliated. I mean, shout out to Yazzers, shout out to Hot Wild Media.
Oh, the
Um,
Hot Wheeler video?
yeah, yeah,
Hey man, them fools are wild over there.
yeah.
Shout
They
out to Hot Wheeler,
they
man.
support my shit.
Yeah, I think
Culture
is that who
Uncensored.
Bozo's going at it with?
I'm not sure who he's going at it with
Hey,
right now.
Bozo, man. Hey, shout out to my boy Bozo, man. My boy
Oh, he was
Bozo.
saying that influencer was
Oh,
cosplaying
yeah.
because they were like in the neighborhood and like
Okay,
dancing
look,
like a cholo, and Bozo was like, "Man, you guys
man.
are still stereotyping us."
Okay, because
I think Neon. I think that's his name.
oh, Neon, yeah, Neon, the
Yeah.
Twitch when he went to Capone on that. Okay, I'm gonna piggyback off the homie Bozo. Shout out to the homie Bozo. I
Yeah.
feel
Shout out
you.
Bozo.
I feel you, dog. I feel you. Like I come from the barrio too, and the homie, and it's like if you're not my homies from like the '90s and back, like we left that era a long time ago. You know what I mean? It's not that we're looking down on it. It's not that we're talking shit about it. It's just like, look, when I see these, oh my god, when I'm on my Instagram, I hate that my algorithm brings up all these Santa Fe swap meet dances, right? But everybody's just like dressed choloed up, and they got their kids dressed all choloed up, and they're just they're like, yeah, I know you're having a fun and all that, but it's like you're painting the image like that's what we still are, and we're not.
Yeah.
We're evolving. But like the reason we take offense to that is because like our homies and our homegirls and our tias and our uncles were dressed like that, but they came from a time where like it was looked down to dress like that. Like you were a spick when you dressed like
Yeah.
that.
Damn, I haven't heard that word in
Yeah,
a
you're a spick. Yeah,
while.
you're a spick.
What?
You're a spick when
That's
you like when
crazy.
you dress like that. You're like that's a fucking wetback, or like they had to like go through that.
Yeah.
So that's why when they see it now, it's like, homie, like, come on, for like you're just cross-playing, homie. Like,
Yeah.
it's not Halloween. Like, don't. And it's also kind of like you're spitting on our elders, because like our people came from something like that, but they had to fight for it,
Yeah.
So I kind of see where he's coming from, but I feel like we shouldn't push it too much to where it's like nobody could do it. and we're like the gatekeepers to all
Oh
the
yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
we're the gatekeepers to all the Pendletons and all the
Yeah.
501s and all that. Like, no, let's not do that either. But like, come on, like let's have some respect for it too, you know. So I
Yeah.
see where Bozo's coming from it. But you know what? I think he was mad. I'm gonna be honest. I think he's mad because and I'm correct me if I'm wrong, dog. Because it was Mr. Capone who had Neon do it. Because Capone comes from the high power times. When
Mhm.
even when high power came out, remember they had the big shirts, the big
Mhm.
letters on the shirts,
Mhm.
the bald heads, and even at that time, we are like, damn, what homies walking around here looking like that? You know, it's like,
Well, Capone's not even Latino.
yeah, which we're not shitting on that either. It's just like you're trying to like shoot our culture over to somebody where that's not where even where you came from.
Exactly.
Yeah, you know. I do want to
Yeah.
get into another thing, right? We were talking about the protests, right? And you went to a protest. What made you want to be involved in the protests?
I was there, it's actually I literally live right by Plaza Olvera.
Yeah,
And
it's a beautiful plaza too.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
it's really cool. I've been there before, I do have a friend, shout him out, even though he loves me. Shout out. No, just kidding.
shout him out.
I'm always talking shit to him. He's like, he gets mad at me because he's like, I'm not a clout chaser. I call
Yeah,
him a clout chaser. Actually, if you see our live I did yesterday, I
yeah,
actually did. I don't know if you saw my Instagram. We did like a dating court.
yeah. I did see that. I did see
I
that.
charged him with
Yeah,
a crime,
yeah,
and I didn't say clout chasing
yeah.
because
But something along those lines.
it was.
I feel you, homegirl. I feel you. And like I said, we had this talk before this, and um, like I said, like I had this little heated discussion with Bams and on Instagram and Hale, and it's because like, look, shout out to Inhale, shout out to Bams. It's nothing personal against you guys. I don't. But there is no beef. I don't even know if there's even beef in real hip hop. Like that's not beef. It's a disagreement. We can all agree to disagree. I just didn't. I told my girl too. I don't want to go. I don't want to go to the protest. And she's like, "Come on, let's go support our people." And I'm like, "I'm gonna tell you right now, it's not people supporting our people. It's gonna be a content creation day."
I had no idea it was going to turn into that,
You
but
know,
it did.
I just had a
It
feeling.
did turn into
I
that.
just had a feeling. I mean, because I think of it of like this: like when you go out to eat, most people are on their phones at the table. I mean, that wasn't happening before. Now, when you go out and you kick it with people, most people are on their phones. You know, so whenever anything big happens, everybody's always on their phone. So I already knew big protest. It's a big subject. It's a big thing. Everybody's just gonna be on their phones, and I'm pretty sure there's gonna be some famous. It's in LA. I mean, it's in LA. You can't. It's in the smack middle of LA. Like everybody's gonna show up as content creation day. So I showed up, and sure enough, it was that. You know, like what was your impression over
Well,
it?
I was there right when it started at 9
Mm.
a.m., and I didn't even know it was going to be all day.
Yeah.
I was just like, I can't, I was
Not
running.
even all day.
I
All
was,
2 days.
yeah, it was 48 hours
Yeah.
into damn near next weekend because
Yeah.
they were still out there
Yeah, they're
the
still
next
out there.
weekend.
Yeah.
And I was like, because I was right by my house, I was like, damn, for real? And so, yeah, I happened to see a post by Be Real. He was
Okay.
like, and I was like, this is right by my house.
Yeah.
I was like, that was it. I was like, I gotta go.
Yeah.
I would feel so fucked up if
If you didn't go.
if the shit was outside my house.
Yeah.
And I'm
And
like,
you didn't even go to it.
and I'm like eating popcorn and making a sandwich
Yeah.
and shit. While like history.
Like
is-
y'all good down there?
So I was like, there's no way I'm not.
Like y'all better act right.
So I like ran down
Yeah.
the street because it's like literally around the corner, and I was there at 9, and my girl Cici Valencia from K-Day, she was in. They had the gazebo.
Yeah.
She was inside there, and so I was like, hey, I'm gonna go. She's like, come through. So I was in the gazebo.
Okay.
And then I saw Coyote for Hire there.
Yeah, they were there.
So
Lush pulled up.
yeah,
Lush pulled
later.
Yeah, later. Yeah, I started seeing a bunch of people. Like I said, I saw Inhale, but like, man, you get mad all you want, bro. But you showed up, you did the video, you're right there in the middle of the freeway, and then you bounced, right? And then when you bounced, and then when we had the heated discussion, he's like, "Oh, we went to the Grammys," and I was like, "Nobody even knows you guys were at the Grammys wearing fuck ice shirts." Like, to me, it's like just don't spread false information because unfortunately, we're living in a time where false information will be recepted very well. You know, like how many times do we see a post on Instagram or whatever? Just the headline will be like, aliens are invading Compton, and everyone's gonna be like, holy shit, fucking
real.
Compton's invaded right now by aliens.
People just
take
it
and then take it in stride with it, you know. So I don't like seeing that, you know. And right now it's not the time. Like there is, unfortunately, people getting caught up in the crossfires. Like moms and dads who are coming home from work that are getting snatched up, and having to leave their kids behind. It's fucking sad.
Yeah.
It's really sad. So when we're out here just thinking like, oh yeah, let me just go get this video real quick because it's gonna blow up and all that. Like at the end of the day, you're spitting on those people that are really getting deported, that really need our help, that really need our voice, that really need for us to speak up, that really need for us to attend those council meetings, those city meetings, those very important meetings that are gonna put certain policies and procedures in place that are probably gonna go against your own mom and dad.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what bothered me. Is like I just know for a fact that 90% of the people there at that protest were just very misinformed.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say any names, but I was live streaming in the morning.
Yeah.
And then people that were on my live stream, they showed up.
Yeah.
So they were like, "Oh, looks popping.
Let me go. I'm
gonna go through."
Yeah.
So,
oh my
you know
God.
what I mean?
You just that was so perfect the way you said it. No, you're not lying because it's like, oh, we outside.
Oh yeah.
It's like they say you're lying, like, oh shit, because that's how I felt. Like, oh shit, we outside, like, you know, and everybody came outside, you know, and yeah, I'm gonna leave that there because I don't like getting too deep into politics because then people start clipping shit and it starts being like, oh, you're conservative, you know, you're a liberal,
yeah,
you know, you're a socialist, and it's like, you know, you wouldn't know socialists if it hit you in the face, you know.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully we can keep having our voices heard. And
what do you do anything that where you participate with your community or help with your people? Are there any things that you're involved with?
Well, you know, I am working on a side business where we are doing website design for city officials.
Got it.
So we are going to be working with candidates, you know,
and building campaigns, right, on the websites.
Yeah. You know, we're going to be using AI.
Yeah.
You know,
what's it like working with AI? No, I never worked with it, but I'm scared to work with it because I feel like it's a scary thing.
Did you see that video where that robot punched somebody?
No.
Joe Rogan shared it on his
Of course he
today.
did. Hey,
it
man,
was a
shout
real
out Joe
robot
Rogan.
in China. Like it looked like it was like manning a concert. And it just went up to like, you know, they have that barrier of the first row of like a crowd. And the robot was like, bam, like a human.
Imagine getting decked by a robot.
And who's going to control that robot if it's out of hand? Joe Rogan just shared that post.
I'm gonna go look at it. Shout out Joe Rogan, man. I hope I'm on his podcast one day. That's the goal right there. Man, he be sharing the wildest shit, but I'm scared.
But I'm not scared of AI.
No, I'm just scared because like, I'm not scared. Let me stop saying that. I'm not scared. I'm just very I'm very distant with it because like I know what it is. You know, it's something that's it's gonna collect information, but I feel like eventually you're gonna collect so much information that you're gonna start having your own thoughts and start having your own opinion. Like it could build to that.
They say that eventually in the future, AI, you know, it's on a broad scope right now. Mm-hmm. Every human because the AI we use, it's learning you. You know, if you interact with it and you're using it for yourself, pretty soon everyone is going to have their own very own AI.
So is it kind of like we're not even programming ourselves anymore? It's crazy, right? Because I think I want to see like I was watching. It might have been, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I was watching something like years ago with Elon Musk, and he was saying about something like between 2025 and 2030, if it was one of those dates, that we can have a chip implanted in us where we can start answering phone calls in our head.
Yeah, I know Elon Musk to talk about that. He's been dying to chip us up, man.
Yeah.
He's been I did see that.
And I was like, what? Like, first of all, I would never even want that. But then I was thinking, my dad, I was talking to my dad, and he's all like, hey, what does it make you, what does it make you think that COVID shot wasn't the chip to put in you?
Yeah, I didn't get the vaccine.
Or like any flu shot. And I'm like, you're fucking right. He goes,
I didn't get it.
Yeah. You know, actually, I do want to talk about that. What was COVID like for you?
It was okay. I did catch the virus. I was sick for like a month. You know, lost my sense of taste. Yeah. Very lethargic.
So you had symptoms. You weren't asymptomatic.
Oh no, yeah, this was like early COVID too. I caught it.
It's crazy. Like it's almost 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, it was like in 2020.
Yeah, it's crazy how long.
And you know what helped me bounce back? Weed gummies.
Weed gummies?
Because I was sober, right? I was scared. I didn't want to drink. I didn't want to smoke.
Everybody was.
Yeah. I was like, I got to just take vitamins, you know, and it lingered, right? It lingers. That's the thing of it. You can't shake it off. It was like 4 weeks. And I finally was like, damn, I'm just going to eat a gummy. Yeah. And that shit gave me energy. And I remember feeling great. And I was like, oh, THC. Like,
yeah. Shout out Dr. Green Thumb.
Cured my COVID.
Yeah. So. Well, I remember I had a doctor tell me, he's all like, when you get COVID, take vitamin D3. B2 and take zinc. It'll kick it out of your
Yes, I
body.
started taking zinc.
Yeah, zinc was
That was
another
the other
one.
thing.
You know,
Yeah.
and I was like, that's cool. But then I was thinking, I'm like, how many of my people don't know this? How many of my
Right.
people thought go getting the COVID shot was the remedy instead of
Yeah.
just taking natural
Yeah,
vitamins?
no, I never would get the shot.
Yeah, how is it? I want to kind of go back to Germany. What's it like in Germany, like over there? You know, like I know over here, a lot of things are sometimes kind of forced on us, right? Like I feel like over there in Europe, a lot more things are actually a lot more free than what it is.
Yeah. Oh, they're very free. I mean, they had cigarette stands, vending machines on the street.
Yeah,
You know, I used to buy them, and I'm underage, and I
yeah.
would actually sell them at school.
What
So I was always like had
was it,
some.
like 25 cents a
I
cigarette?
always had something to sell,
Yeah,
like at school. But yeah, they're very free. They had like X-rated
yeah.
magazines just all over, you know, like so they're pretty free over there.
That's nice. And then okay, so let's get into the podcasting. Who was like one of your favorite guests to have on?
Oh
And who was the
gosh.
one that you like really enjoyed having on there?
Um, let's see. Who did I enjoy having on very much? I'm trying to think of everybody that's been on, you know. Um, you know who I interviewed who I'm so happy that he came on. Uh, he's not very well, I shouldn't say that. He's Eva Mendes' brother. His
Um
name's Carlo Mendez.
yeah, but he was known for something, wasn't he?
He's an actor. He's on the new show of Dexter right now.
No shit.
Yes.
Yeah,
But he never wanted to make it with using his sister's name.
but I remember he was up and coming. That's crazy. You brought him up. I think like it
Yeah.
was like 2 years ago. I had noticed like that's like Eva Mendes' brother that was
Yeah.
acting. Yeah.
So he's so nice. He's so nice. You know, and he's starting to really get noticed
Yeah.
now. So you know, he I love having people that are just like they're humble
Yeah.
and you know.
I know it must have been funny having Wessmont on there. Skeme.
Oh, Skeme's my guy though.
Yeah.
You know, I know.
Shout out my boy Skeme, man.
When the second I met Skeme at Julian Torres'
Yeah.
album release at Snoop Dogg.
And he's always with Psycho. And he's always the boy Psycho.
Yeah. And when I first met him, I didn't know his music or anything.
Yeah.
But he was so funny.
He's so, oh my God. I had these dudes in the studio
He's
one time.
funny, right?
I had these dudes in the studio one time. It was him, it was Psycho, his boy Psycho, and it was other boy White T.
He's like a fool. Like he
oh
makes
my
a
God,
joke out of everything.
These guys were fucking capping on each other. And I was like, I remember I don't even know if we did a song. I remember these dudes were just joking all day. And we're like, fuck, these dudes are fucking funny. I remember when he told Psycho that his ankles looked like they hurt. I was gone. I was like, damn.
Skeme is funny.
Yeah, he was like, oh, remember he was on the couch. He was all fucked up. Like this. Like, you look like your ankles hurt. He goes, you look like you got Down syndrome when you beat it. I was like, what the fuck is wrong with this food?
Skeme is funny as hell.
Yeah, but it's cool because they bring that energy, and it's just like that's what you want around you. You know, just
Exactly.
homies that are
He's a
enjoying it
fun
with you.
guy.
That's a real fun chill guy right there.
He's a fun person.
And then you did Lefty. Who else from the OTR did you do?
You know, Skeme got signed after
Yeah.
he was on my show, and then I had a corrido singer named Jimmy Valdez,
Very familiar.
who
Dope.
looks like they just did some sort of rap song. I think him and Skeme just did a song together now.
Yeah.
So,
I know Santa Fe
I don't
Clan
know.
Santa Fe Clan's been around here doing this artist songs with a lot of people too.
Yeah. I mean, you know, as far as Mexico goes,
Yeah.
I feel like Secan. Do you know who he is?
No, but
Man,
I'll listen to him.
people are sleeping on Secan.
Oh, you know what?
People are sleeping.
Shout out my girl. I think she just put because my girl's she's from Durango. Shout out Durango.
So anytime I see Santa Fe Clan, I'm like, man, what's up with Secan, man?
Yeah. You're like, where's that for?
But you know, I actually know him and his management.
Got it.
And he's to me, he's way more picky
Yeah.
of who he's gonna collab with.
Got it.
He has.
Do you find that as a good thing or a bad thing?
I mean, he's not getting shine in the U.S. like he should.
Yeah.
If he would do some of these other collaborations, but he's huge in Mexico.
Yeah.
So like we were saying, the overseas shit, he's getting
they're
paid.
blowing up. Yeah.
He doesn't need the U.S. money.
No, and that's what I always try to tell like everybody coming out of LA. It's like, don't just settle here. You know, I know we get big in our own hometown, and it feels good because we're getting people that we grew up with and we're around, and obviously like rival cities and all that who are bumping our stuff, and we're like, that's good enough for me. But I always tell them like, don't settle, man. And shout out to Reverie, shout out to Gavlin, shout out to Vel the Wonder. I remember Von Poe, Self Provoked. A lot of these young rap artists I don't know if you're familiar like Reverie and her too.
Yeah.
When they were younger, and I know this because I was a fan at that time. Like I always used to like watch them when the Cypher Effect and all that was coming out. But those kids at that time would get together, get their monies, and take trips to Europe. And they would go to like
No.
Germany, and they would
That's
go
so
out. Yeah,
smart.
they'd go out there for like a week, but they were young kids, like in their 18, 19, 20, sometimes
That's
16,
dope.
17. And when they came back, I kind of feel like they knew, like they didn't care if they were popping in LA or not because they know they're big over
Yeah, they
there.
got like their eyes a little.
Yeah,
They
over
saw
there.
things.
You know, so I
That's
always, I
good.
always try to tell these is like, go somewhere else. You know, like
Yeah.
sometimes you need that ATO collab. Sometimes you need that Shot-Town collab, that New York collab, you know, that Florida collab. Because how many more times are you gonna keep collabing with the homeboys, and we all almost sound the same?
But Sikon is badass. If you
Yeah.
guys aren't familiar with him, okay, so if you listen to that song, that hype song that everybody's been doing, La Bandera,
Yeah.
that song, I don't know if you've heard it, but that's the song they were playing on the day of the protest.
Man, I know I was
Mi
tripping.
Bandera.
Yeah, okay, that's
So
where I
Santa
heard
Fe
it from. Yeah.
Clan is on that song, but there's
Yeah.
a remix, and Sikon is on it. And
Yeah.
then they had Lefty SM, who actually got killed.
Yeah, I remember Lefty SM got killed.
You know,
yeah.
so
that was big.
he's on the show as well. I mean, on the
Yeah.
song as well. But yeah, go check out Sikon. I mean, but
Yeah.
he's huge. He's a Mexican superstar. In my opinion, he's Tupac of Mexico.
No shit. Damn. Okay, that one just stamped it on me right there. I'm gonna have to go watch him. Who else you got your eye on that's coming up?
You know, I don't know, man. You know, I had that 14-year-old
Yeah.
Mac.
Oh, Jay the Mac. Yeah, he shot out. He's signed to the same label as the homegirl, Criminally Divine.
Oh, okay.
Crimes. Yeah.
Oh, and you know who else though? Speaking of girls, is Too Dank.
I haven't heard her.
Too Dank. She's
Yeah.
fire. She's
Yeah.
from
Where's
San
she?
Diego.
San Diego. Hey man, shout out to San Diego. I lived in San Diego for 10 years. Beautiful place. Like if I could
I
retire.
think she's about to pop because I saw her doing some collabs. So other people are noticing.
Too Dank. Everybody go look at Too Dank and homegirl. If you want to do an interview, jump on. You know, we'd love to have you.
She's dope. She was supposed to do my show, but we just haven't coordinated it. And she's from San Diego, so.
And plus, when somebody's coming up too, they're probably so busy, like trying to get shit in motion, that they don't like mean to. Because I know some people take it attention. They're like, "Wow, fuck you! You think you're too good?" But it's like, no, like you just don't know how much it takes to get something in motion.
Yeah.
Because you're competing with everybody. Yeah, there's so many yous, you know, but you just got to keep proving to like what's different.
She's really talented. I seen her perform live and she killed it. Yeah. She killed it. Like, I don't, she has the dopest beats and she had the performance down. Yeah. She was like,
that's dancing. A good thing too, right? When an artist has a performance.
Yeah. She's probably like 19.
Got it. So. That's really young. And I was gonna say that's a good thing too, because I know we go to a lot of hip hop shows, and it's the typical like sometimes a lot of times it could be the typical like just rapping with the homies in the back. But it's cool when you get an artist who could like put on a performance and like give you something. You know, so that when you say that, it's like okay, I gotta go check her out.
Star power.
Yeah, I gotta go check her out because I know the homegirl Cassandra Benz. When we had that 818, we had an 818 hip hop show here, and you know all of us we did good, we did all right, you know, and shit, you know, Crims killed it, CS Johnny killed it, fucking Richie Valley killed it. But when Cassandra Benz came on and she sang that song, Dog Walk, she just put like this whole performance to it, and it just makes you like, oh, okay, like you know,
it's dope to see a girl, you know,
kill it
in the rap game,
like, you know, and then
have a performance.
It seems like it comes in waves though, right? Like they come in waves, right? Because the last like girl wave that I remember was like Bella and it was Bella and then this other girl, I can't remember her name, like Ray something. And then
I know
Ray
what
Monique,
you're talking about.
Monique. And then like he died out, and then you know it's coming back, and now it seems like it's coming back heavy though.
Yeah, I mean, I had this girl Por Vida. Have you ever heard of her?
It sounds very familiar.
So she's in that same, you know, but if you ask her, she's in a league of her own.
Yeah.
But you know, that's the competitive.
That's the mentality of everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they had a Latina rapper a music show at the Yoast.
Yeah.
That I went and that was the lineup. It was just girls. It was Bella, Reverie. I can't remember if Snow the Product was there, but Por Vida performed, and Por Vida she killed it.
Where is she from? Is she from Arizona?
She's from LA.
She's from LA? Okay, I gotta go check her out too.
She's been on No Jumper.
Yeah.
She's been on my show.
Dope.
You know, she also, you know, went through some stuff. She lost her brother.
Yeah.
And
is that the one where it was her dad?
Father.
Yeah, man, I'm sorry to hear about that. Yes, she was on Hoodstocks. That's when I heard it. I think she was on Hoodstocks.
And when she came on my show, I was like, look, girl, we're just gonna talk about your music,
Yeah,
because that's what
that's deep.
you know what I mean. And
and it opens wounds, and
I
it makes
didn't want
somebody
her
very
to feel
vulnerable.
pressure to be like, okay, you're on the show, like let's get into
The juicy shit,
yeah.
like that's what I always tell people. And it's crazy because it's like what you said. You're like, when you're like, yeah, we just talk, we kick it, we talk like homies, and you're like, what most people call boring, right? That's because it's boring because it's not juicy. It's not like it's not controversy. It's not all this shit that like somebody's talking shit. It's just that it's crazy. Like I put a video to promote an event, and somebody's like, hey, the video's too long. People don't have that much attention span. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, so you're telling me like you got to make it like 10 seconds, or people are just gonna swipe up? And I'm like, it's crazy. Like people just like our attentions, like everything's changed about us. Like,
but that's what I love YouTube for.
Yeah,
I love long format.
Yeah, I do too. But it's not. It seems like it's not for the youth anymore though.
No,
because the youth want like shorts.
Right.
They want TikToks, like something just quick. I want to see something quick, laugh real quick, ha ha, boop.
Yeah.
Or like, oh, this is cool, okay, boop.
Yeah.
Like it's just so quick. Now you gotta like hurry up and like get your shit out and like
yeah.
Like, come on, shorty. Okay, cool.
Yeah. We could get down the marketing rabbit hole.
Yeah, because and I was even thinking, I'm like, I don't know when's the last time somebody came to me. It's like, hey, have you seen that Joe Rogan podcast?
Man, because I haven't. Well, after he took it off of YouTube,
yeah,
I haven't.
I think he's back now.
Is he?
Yeah, I think he's back now. I think his Spotify contract is already up. But I think he's back. But I was like, his interviews were like 3 hours, 4 hours, and I remember I'd watch all of it. And now I'm like, I don't even know when's the last time I watched
I'm that
Joe.
person. I'm that person that I love that stuff.
Recommend some podcasts that you listen to that you really
I mean,
like.
I'm a YouTuber.
Yeah.
That's all I watch. But I have weird stuff that I watch, and it's a lot of it is mindless.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I want to be just not thinking about
kind of escape
day to day.
Yeah.
So one thing that I've been watching right now is like this dude that got locked up. I don't know if you've ever heard of him. His name's Wade Wilson.
No. That's one of those prison like politics, prison guys.
Yeah, he's a prison guy who has like a million wives that like they love him so much.
Damn.
He killed. So they leak his. There's a channel that they record. The phone calls are recorded that he gets,
of course,
and they leak them. So it's called Phone Calls from Prison.
Yeah.
So it's literally
so crazy.
Him, and he's a psycho killer. He's killed 2 girls in the same day.
Yeah.
But these women think he's so hot, and I guess they think that they can change him. But he's on death row. He's never getting out.
Yeah.
So, but he's on the phone.
But it was like, also
hey,
like,
baby, you gonna bring my canteen? Like,
yeah.
And are we gonna get married?
And I wonder if they could get conjugal visits in death row. They can, right?
I have no idea.
But I know who was that dude? Ted Bundy.
Yeah.
He he was a mass killer, but this dude had like fucking girls that are all over. And they girls love that shit, or the Night Stalker.
Yeah, Richard.
I remember I posted one thing like on Instagram, like it was an actual post of like Richard Ramirez. It was something, and I don't know where like all these Richard Ramirez fans like came out of nowhere, like that's bae, and I love him, and I was all like, I wouldn't have twisted,
you know. Women that do that, they have issues.
Yeah, but it seems to be like a big thing though. Like it's just like there's just a big thing about women liking like serial killers and like dudes that are like in that world, like the Charles Mansons and all that,
Yeah, and what I watch about him is another YouTuber that just talks shit about the call the entire time. It makes fun of it. So it's entertaining because this guy's talking shit about it on top of it. So and I just watch mindless stuff like that, like sometimes when I'm just like.
It reminds me of like when I used to watch Big Herc. I don't know if you ever watched his stuff.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, why is this guy always talking about like this? I'm like, he's like, you go get your head cracked. He was like, they gonna bust your cheeks. I was like, what the fuck? This dude's crazy, man. And then like Wessmont came around and like it just started seeming like that prison thing started catching a vibe, a wave. So things like it looks like things always come in waves. What do you do to stay consistent?
Just. The channel's evolving. We had a great run 2024. After the fires, it was harder. I felt like everybody everybody was just doing their own.
You talking about those wildfires that just popped up out of everywhere?
Yeah.
That was crazy when that shit happened, right?
Yeah.
Because I was staying in over there by Glendale, like not Glendale, but like
it was insane.
like Sun Valley, Sunland, but it was like
apocalyptic.
Yeah, because it was like it popped up over there by like Pasadena, Altadena.
Mm-hmm.
And then like it went all the way to like the Palisades.
Yeah.
And then it went all the way to like Woodland Hills, and then it went to Granada Hills, and it's like now they're finding these. I have a weird thing.
Conspiracies around.
Yeah, obviously there's a lot of conspiracies around, but it's like they were like, we found the arson suspect, and it's like a homeless dude who looks like he's out of it. You know, it's like y'all just fucking woke me up. Like, what's going on? You know, I'm like, that dude didn't do it. You know, like, so like, but when these fires were coming out, it's like they were just popping up everywhere. You know, and I was like, something's up. Yeah. You know, there's obviously like a bigger agenda or not, but you know, I have these talks with my kids and all that, and I always tell them like, we're gonna live every day, just day to day. You know, walk with God, and we're not gonna change anything. You know, and I did notice like it's kind of like scaring people away from California when those fires happen.
Yeah,
because it's like, what's next?
Yeah, I mean, I heard somewhere too that they're trying to make California its own
state.
no, its own country.
I mean, its own country. Yeah, its own country. But they said the Swedes were like trying to like sign off on it or something like that.
Yeah, like they're trying to make it like you have to be really rich to be able to afford to live here. And which is crazy.
It's crazy, but let me tell you guys something. The San Andreas fall is due to fall anytime soon. You know, and I know we say this all the time, and we're like, oh, well, they've been saying that. Well, guess what? When it happens, we said it. And I always tell everybody, if y'all are smart, go move to Nevada or Arizona, because that's going to be the new California once California falls in the water.
For me to move to Arizona. And
yeah, I mean, Arizona's just when I lived over there, shout out to my boy Yeee, that's where I met him. Yeah, it has its like wild parts or whatever, but it's cool. Like I enjoyed it out there. Like I felt like it was a lot more peaceful. Like when you live up north a little more towards like Surprise, it was just a different culture, you know. But
it's a different culture.
It's a big different culture. But I always get homesick. I gotta go back home.
Exactly.
I always get homesick.
Exactly.
Like because when I moved to Arizona, everybody that I met was from LA. Like, oh, I had a homie from East LA. I had a homie from Santa Fe Springs. Like, we're all from LA, but we always all say the same thing. Like, we miss home, you know? And eventually we came back home. But this time when I came back home around 2021, 2022, I saw like things were changing. Like the music scene, you know, the way media was, like the events, you know, the collabs everybody was happening. I'm like, oh, something's about to happen. And it was getting big, and that's when like obviously like Lefty started coming out. Wessmont Skeme, I know we're going back to him, but Wessmont Skeme should have been big a long time ago. The way he raps, the way he could out rap anybody, I feel like he could out rap anybody in LA. You know, like his wordplay and his punchlines and his delivery. It's ahead of everybody. Talented. You know, now obviously he's probably not big because Skeme isn't with the gimmicks. You know, he's not with the bullshit. He's not with the like, oh, let me do like shit some like get attention. Like that's just not him. You know, the homie's a genuine cool dude. You know, and it sucks that he can't get the shine or the recognition he needs. Because of that.
You know, it's hard being an artist, you know, and figuring out navigating and having people invest in you, and then you got to follow certain rules, and then you know, it's all a game. And like
what are some of the struggles you deal with, like following your career?
Well, you know, I guess what, you know, after the fires and kind of what I was saying before, like we had a great run in 2024. Like, you know, and now I have people hitting me up like, when's your next interview? What are you doing? Like, and at this point, anyone, you know, can just turn on the camera. And so I feel like I could just start doing my own reaction videos, you know, and I could just start doing my own live stream. So that's where the channel is headed. You know, that's why we did our divorce court.
That's funny.
Last night.
That's funny.
It was really funny. And you know, the verdict did not go in my favor.
No.
Yeah. No, I
would have fired everybody. I'm like, this show's over. Fuck y'all.
But it was fun, and you know, I didn't have a celebrity on. You know what I mean? Like
sometimes you don't need to have it. Like sometimes, like I always tell people, like even with this podcast, like we don't always like go for like the big names or whatever, because sometimes they're not the ones with the story.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're not the ones with the good conversations. Sometimes they're not the ones like I've had a couple like people who have some names for themselves, but I just had a very boring conversation because you can't go very far with them.
Yeah.
You know, you can't expand your conversation into many places. Like you and I, we can speak about politics, and we go into music, then we go into degrees, and then we go into personal life, you know? And I think that's why I always say, like, don't always aim for the big ones, because they're probably not the ones that's going to make you big.
Yeah. No, I feel like there's a lot I could say, you know, and I never want to have a guest or, you know, it's about them. And, you know, so I I just am there to ask questions.
Of course.
So doing it just solo, I could kind of let people know my personality a little bit more, and I think I have a lot of interesting takes, and especially from things that I've been through that people don't really necessarily know about me. And I feel like I did build a brand up. I'm doing it a second time. I had it when it was before the internet, and now I'm doing it with the YouTube channel. So
and I expect I expect nothing but the best for that. I really do, because when I meet somebody genuine, when I meet somebody who really has a goal and believes in it, like, I really wish you guys nothing but the best,
Thank you.
And I really do hope you guys succeed, and I hope you guys do blow up. So when I sit down and have my little food and shit, I'm watching YouTube, I'm like, damn, homegirl made it.
I mean, I honestly already feel like I made it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't got no 5-year plan.
Yeah.
It's like you said, it's like
we take it day by day and just walk with it.
Day by day, and I already feel like I'm successful. If you're doing what you love,
that's beautiful.
You're successful.
Of course. Do the same thing. So you're on this island for a year, and you can only take 3 movies with you. What 3 movies would it be?
Okay, I'm not a movie buff.
Let's do shows or even podcasts. If you could only listen to 3 podcasts.
But I listen.
Whichever one's easier.
But the movie that I really, really loved they're all comedies. I love comedies. So I would say Pineapple Express, Orange County, which no one seems to have watched. It's with Jack Black and
it's called Orange County.
Colin Hanks, Tom Hanks' son. Yes, it is the funniest movie ever. And
is Colin Hanks the one that's rapping now?
No, that's Chet.
That's Chet. All right.
Colin is the esteemed actor son.
Got you.
Chet is the thug.
The thug one. Yeah. I'm like, that's Woody's son. That's little Woody right there.
Well, Orange County is like such an underrated movie, and probably the movie, again, I don't take shit seriously, so I'm not into like hardcore movies, and when I watch shit, I watch for entertainment. So I would say that movie X, about that big party.
Oh, Project X.
Yeah.
I love
certain movies like that, like Superbad.
Yeah.
Like I love those kind of things.
Me and my sister growing up, shout out my sister, shit, free her. We used to have a 99-cent store just, right here down the street, but it wasn't the 99-cent store. It was one of those like dollar K's. This one was Dollar Q, and they had a box, like a big box by the front door, and it was a bunch of like low budget movies, and a lot of them were like these fucking Chicano gang banging movies, but they were so corny. They were so fucking corny, and we'd buy them. They'd be like $1 each. So we'd buy like 5 of them. We'd just watch them. That'd be like our comedy. Like there was this movie called Sideways, and it was these cholos, like they're wearing a Raider jersey, but they got tape over the Raiders because they don't want to get sued by the Raiders. And shit, I was like, oh my god, shit is corny as fuck. I do want to hear what is a quote that you live by every day?
Oh man, that's a tough one. I don't know. Trying to think of something like philosophical.
It could even be something funny. It could be something whatever. It could be any kind of saying.
A quote that you live by every day. I mean, I would just get better. Get better every day. Just
always progress. Move forward. Yeah.
Progress, not perfection.
Yeah.
So people get they call it analysis paralysis.
Yes.
So don't be scared. Like again, those people could talk shit all day now about me on social media. Honestly, I'm gonna laugh it off.
It comes with it.
Yeah. But yeah, you can't wait to be ready because you're never gonna be fully ready to do things.
And plus, when your time is called, you have to be ready. So you gotta always stay ready.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, definitely.
Progress, not perfection.
Yeah, I always tell people when they say like, "Oh man, I'm stuck. Like, I don't know what I'm doing." I'm well, you're stuck because you're not moving forward.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's very simple, Or like, I remember my friend told me, he's like, "Hey, I'm depressed." I go, "It's the devil." And he goes, "What do you mean?" I go, "Look at what depressed means. You're in a deep rest. It's the devil keeping you down. I go, get yourself out of it. Move forward." Sometimes it takes things like that to like blow their minds. But I enjoyed you having your. I think it was a beautiful conversation. I really do hope, and I know it will. Like your part, everything that you got going, just you succeed in it.
Thank you.
I wish I throw to all my fellow guests. I really do, because even us coming, like me and ETV coming up, like we're like, hey dog, we make it big, we do. We don't. But like let's just really have some genuine good shit like while we go at it,
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful thing that I get to come across like meeting people like you, and hopefully we have future events and future things that we can do,
Yeah, no, I think you're a great conversationalist. You're a really
I
good
appreciate it.
interviewer.
Thank you.
So,
Let everybody know what you got coming up, or what do you, or where they could find you in your social medias.
I go by Angee Smallz. It's two E's and a Z at the end. So follow me on Instagram. Follow my YouTube channel, Latin Affiliated. You're gonna see more live streams, reaction videos on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's about
I
it.
appreciate it.
Just
Well,
look me
yeah,
up.
look, like, share, subscribe, man. Get at the homegirl, Angee Smallz, man. Follow. This is going to be a beautiful thing. I appreciate everybody tuning in to ETV. It's your boy, Clean Side Blazer. We're here at the Real House.